Tell me bust down my AP. Perfect timing. They shine. My bad, my bad. This is Who Had Edition with your favorite host, Trill Quack. And today, we busting down our AP. Perfect timing. I stay grinding. Buffaloes get the dub. Move on to 2-1. Good week of college football. I had some crazy games. The LSU South Carolina game I think was the best game this week. Bama showed me something. Florida State. Let's get into it. Colorado beats Colorado State at their place 28-9 in a fairly decent, dominant win. They only allowed 3 points in the first half, but then only allowed 6 more in the second half. They scored 14 first half, scored another 14 in the second half. Watching this game, man, you see Colorado's potential. They ran the ball finally for 100 yards, guys. Clap it up. And what did they do with the run game? They mixed things up. The motion. They ran pistol formation. They didn't just run shotgun, single back, inside zone. They ran some things to the edges, up the gut. And we might have found something with Michael Welch. He had 9 for 65 yards. And each carry was about, he was getting 7 yards a carry. Your running back give you 7 yards a carry, you thank him every carry. You know what I'm saying? When I was growing up, Coach Jones, shout out to Beacon, told me 4 yards a carry. 7, thank you. But this game showed Colorado glimpses. Their defense was getting after the quarterback, forced 4 turnovers. Linebackers was hitting. Bentley, I told y'all, is a dog. He comes up and hit. And then the other one, 41, forgetting his name. Hill is a dog at linebacker. So them two, it's crazy at linebacker. The D-line was getting after the quarterback, and it was a great game. You know, Shador was only sacked 1 time, and this game just shows Colorado can be a great team if Shador's protected. If you run the ball, and if Travis be Travis, then Shador and Travis and the rest of the Colorado Buffaloes could be a great team. It's just a simple formula for success for Colorado. Protecting Shador, targeting Travis, and stopping the run. Colorado can be a 10-win team. It's not hard for them to be good if they just focus on finding ways to always protect Shador, target Travis, and stop the opposing team run. They can be a great team. They can be a 9-10-win team. So this one was good, but it was just simple evaluating. Like Colorado is simply good when they can air the ball out. Shador threw for 300 yards. I think he threw the ball how many times did he throw the ball? Threw the ball 49 times. Like that's their formula. I know that's a lot, but it's just their formula, and that's just how they went, and that's when they look the most impressive. When Shador is able to sling it around, then Travis gets a bunch of targets. He had 13 catches, so I think he had probably 15, 16 targets, and then stop the opposing team run. And they held Colorado State to only 67 rushing. Top rusher was only 67 rushing yards. So it's real simple. It's real simple. Colorado formula and ways to be great and a good team. It's just simple. But shout out Travis for sure, man. 13 for 100 catches and an interception. Like, I'm telling you, Shorty, when he is going off, it's a great chance they may win it, because that's a great chance Shador's protected and getting him some targets. But great win. Showed the potential that, you're actually above a bunch of these teams. I think this is probably the best or second best win for Prime's career so far. It really showed the school is going in progression. It's not regression. So great win. Let's get into what I say probably the best game of this week, man. LSU versus South Carolina. This game is the definition of two tales of different halves. The first half, LSU could not stop South Carolina. South Carolina was up 17-0, and it looks like they may blow the doors off them peoples. And then LSU comes back and they makes a fight and make it a game. and going to the half is 24 to 17, 24-16 going into halftime. South Carolina winning, and you like, okay, South Carolina looks good, but right before the half, South Carolina quarterback Sellers, number 16, gets hurt, and that changes their entire game. After that, the backup Ashford is not it. That after that, that changed the entire game. So then South Carolina becomes one dimensional. They can't throw the ball anymore, and LSU knows that, so they stock the box, and they're able to stop South Carolina, South Carolina running back Sellers as well. Um, it was Sanders as well. It was a crazy game. Even though Sanders had 143 yards, he had 19 carries. The backup came in. Um, Before he only had 20. I'm sorry, look at my notes here, y'all. The first half they had 265 yards, and the second half they had 77 yards. And this was before the minute drive, so they had a couple more yards because they drove down to try to kick the game time field goal. But 265 yards in the first half, and only 77 yards in the second half. It just shows two tails. There's no way you was able to drive and put up points and put up 24 points and put up 265 yards. And then the second half, you only put up 77. It was obviously because of the quarterback injury that hurt them badly. South Carolina had no answer for the read option duo with Sellers and Sanders. South Carolina's running back and quarterback. The linebackers would either over commit and Sellers would go up, or if they stay home, Sanders would take it up for a deep run. So LSU, yes, it was a good win, I would say, because it was a tough environment. South Carolina was crazy this week. College game day was there, so they was lit and crazy over there. But it was a tale of two halves, man. And then there was some key penalties that went in LSU favors. They had two pick sixes that was called back. One was key at the end of the game for real. When South Carolina was up for quarterback throw interception, they returned it for a pick six. They called a unnecessary roughness because he pushed the quarterback. He literally pushed him. He didn't even hit him. He pushed him hard, but he called that one back. Then another pick six they called back for a weak holding. And they also called a big game back that could have put them up 7 of weak offensive pass interference. Even the commentators couldn't even tell who they called the pass interference on. So it was a tough game. If you are a South Carolina fan, that was a win that would have been so big for this school this year. Their D-line is crazy with Dylan Stewart, number 5. Their defense is nice. They show up, they tackle well, and they get after the passer. So it's just crazy. You had 44 passing yards in the second half. You ran the ball 15 times in the second half, and you only threw it six times in the second half. It was a tale of two halves, man. South Carolina had this win, but the injury to their quarterback ultimately was the reason they lost this game. I just think if they maybe just score one touchdown in the second half with their quarterback, I think they win this game because their defense was getting stop after stop after stop. But with the backup quarterback in there and they became one-dimensional, it was hard for South Carolina to get anything going on offense. And LSU knew that their backup couldn't, actually really throw the ball, but just launch it deep for incompletion. So they stacked the box and forced them to throw it. And backup was Ashford, man. I'm just being honest. He was terrible. He was terrible. So, hopefully, Sellers, South Carolina starting quarterback, is able to come back. But if not, hopefully there got to be someone else on that bench maybe that can go out there and play. Hopefully it is, because Ashford is not the answer. But Garrett Nussmeier had a good game. He had 285 yards, 2 tutties. I think he still threw 1 interception. Although, Lacey Kyron didn't have a crazy numbers game, every big catch, that first touchdown he scored was big. He had a big catch that put them in position to score. So when it's time to really get it done, Lacey is the guy. LSU has a crazy passing game. If they're able to protect the passer, Nussmeier can get it out to Lacey and the rest of those guys, and they can be successful in offense. But They should have lost this game, and that would have been a bad loss. It probably would have ended up them being unranked. But ultimately, you know what I'm saying? All it's about is a win, and injuries are a part of the game. And LSU capitalized on South Carolina's injury. Let's get into Bama. Road Tide, man. The Tide beats Wisconsin 45 to 10, 42 to 10. Um, it's Bama. Bama showed that they're Bama and they're dominant and they're great. I knew they was gonna win this game. They won it. Kind of how I expected, but I wanted to see, like I told you guys before, their passing game show up. And I think that's what it did. They had 6 plays of 20 plus yards, and 4 of them resulted in touchdowns. It was very easy seeing Bama figuring out Bama offense. They're explosive, and I think that's it. I think if you when you force them, you play back and you take away their explosiveness and you force them to dink and dunk and drive for 14 play drive, 7 minute drive, they failed. That was a bunch of those type of drives. They ended up punting the ball or settling for long field goals. But when you blink the wrong way or you miss an assignment, something like that on the back end, it's bombs away, Milroe deep to the 17-year-old Ryan Williams. He opened it up after him with a deep pass for I think about 36 yards. After that, the floodgates started to open up, and Bama starts to unleash their bombs away. But Milroe has become so much better as a passer. His deep balls are probably at least top 2 in college right now. He throws a beautiful deep ball. Quentin Ewers does as well, but Milroe deep ball may be the best in the game. Also because his receivers are so fast and so good at tracking deep balls. So Bama offense showed up. They showed me something. That 2 minute drive was crazy. It was two plays. It was about what 30. It was 17 seconds, 2 plays, 73 yards. Like what? Who scores in 17 seconds off 2 plays? Jalen Milroe throwing it deep to Ryan Williams for 1, and then number 5 for the back of the pylon touchdown. But wasn't all good for Bama. They stopping the run is still a problem, and to the left side exactly. Wisconsin did an entire drive where they ran the ball to the left side of Alabama. Alabama has to figure this run game out, and then their secondary can be exposed a lot. The quarterback missed 2 throws. It was the backup quarterback. He came in, Braden Locke. Their starting quarterback got hurt on the first drive, and I think that kind of hurt them. Wisconsin drove down the field and settled for a long field goal the first drive. I'm not saying they would have, won or scored 30, but I think they would have scored. I think they would score more than 10 with their starting quarterback. The backup Lockie looked like it was, his first few reps, so they, kind of took it slow, and they kind of probably realized, okay, we're not gonna win this game, but this is our quarterback for the rest of the season, so let's, get him acclimated and get him going. So it was Bama showing that they're Bama, they're a top team for sure, championship contender. They checked my box off. They Texas and Bama has checked my boxes off for be real. And Georgia them 3 has been they check my boxes off to be real championship contenders so far. Only those 3 teams have shown me and given me that belief that they're top 3 teams. Friday Night Lights, man. We had Arizona and Kansas State, man. It was a great game. Kansas State, Arizona wins this game with their offense, and their defense was great. Every drive except that first half. Kansas State wins 31-7. Arizona really only had that one drive. They came out a long drive. First drive was 7 minutes. 7 runs, 6 passes. Arizona gets in there, but Arizona was terrible on third downs. They went 3 for 12, and they don't really have nothing but T-Mac. If you bracket T-Mac or you allow him to beat you but not to kill you, then you're good. You know what I'm saying? What I mean by that is T-Mac had 140. He had 138 for 11 catches. He beat him, but he did not kill him because he did not score and he did not really put them in scoring positions for a lot of his catches. And then penalties. They had 9 penalties for 75 yards. Arizona, you cannot win a tough or against a good team with 75 penalty yards. You cannot do that. So then Arizona abandoned the run game. They only ran for 56 yards. And then Kansas State, Johnson. Oh my, Avery Johnson is a playmaker. Watching him, I'm not saying that he's Johnny Manziel, but he is a playmaker, and he reminds me so much of Johnny Manziel because he doesn't sit back there and gonna, beat you from throwing the ball 30 times and slinging it down, your throat. But with his playmaking ability, that's going to put him in, positions and situations where he can make plays, extending the plays or getting outside the pocket, things like that were the big things that I noticed for him. But it was one thing that was not so good. He's a right-handed quarterback, but throwing to the left, he was not that inaccurate. He was not that accurate. He missed a lot of throws to his left, and he didn't even throw the ball that much to his left. He threw the ball 23 times. He maybe only threw it to his left 6, 7 times. So, good defensive coordinators may pick up on that. So, let's see how, Kansas State combat that. But their run game, but then their offensive coordinator was great, was brilliant that night. 2 of their touchdowns came from play action, design plays where there was a wide open guy. Avery just tossed it to him. Arizona, their quarterback Noah Feeder, I didn't like it. I didn't like what I seen. He never steps up in the pocket. He was doing a lot of running around. Every time they were pressured, there was times where he could have stepped up, maybe and ran or stepped up and found somebody. But if you just roll out, you kind of only can throw the ball on that side that you roll out to. You can maybe pat Mahomes a throw, but what's the chances of that being completed? Very low. So Arizona has to figure it out on offense. Their defense, 31 points. They gave up a punt return. So, you take that off. That's 24 points. Dylan Edwards, though, you got to give him the ball. He's a playmaker. It's just playmakers in college football and NFL. But college football, I think, is about playmakers and getting your playmakers the ball. And Dylan Edwards is that. They didn't get him much involved in the offense, but putting it back there for punt return and getting a timely punt return touchdown was big. As a Colorado fan, I was mad. Happy for Dylan, but mad that it wasn't in a Buffalo jersey. But yeah, Arizona has to figure it out. This was a scary loss. You got dominated 31-7. You had one drive. Then you doing penalties as if it's week 1, but this was week 3. You had a lot of older guys coming back, so it wasn't like it was a new team with a bunch freshmen or a bunch of transfers. So it was no excuses for 75 yards. While Kansas State only had 15 yards on 2 penalties. So they kind of beat themselves, yes, with the penalties, but even when drives where they didn't have penalties, I didn't see nothing really outside of T-Mac being the only answer. And then Kansas State did a great job of bracketing him and forcing other guys to show up. So it was a great game for Kansas State, but it was not a conference win. This game was scheduled before Arizona and Kansas State entered the Big 12, so it was not a conference game technically. So Arizona, you're still good. You're still 0-0 in the conference. And conference play is about to start, so you still have a chance to, still ultimately win the conference and be, or be in the top 10 to be in the conference championship game and put yourself in that predicament. So, great one for Kansas State, and I want to see how Arizona offense bounce backs. Now, it's Monday. Let me get into the last 2 of the day. Who that of the week goes to Tennessee run game. Tennessee ran the ball for 456 yards. Tennessee ran the ball for 456 yards. Tennessee ran the ball for 6 tutties. Tennessee ran the ball for 6 touchdowns. Tennessee ran the ball for 8.3 yards per carry. 8.3 yards per carry. Tennessee run game was crazy. You heard the stats. It ain't really too much I gotta get into. You heard the stats. Tennessee run game is crazy and was crazy. Garbage time of the week. Florida State Seminoles. They fell to 0-3, and you would think they played 3 ranked or 3 good teams. They played 3 unranked teams. And they just lost to Memphis, and they paid them $1.3 million to come to Florida to get an advantage and to beat them ultimately. And they failed to do that. DJ Role is so bad. Is he the worst 5-star recruit in the last 5 years? DJ Aughlin, is he the worst 5-star recruit in the last 5 years? I think he may be. He was recognized as he was the number 1 player in his class for sure. I'm sure. Definitely number 1 quarterback. Clemson thought they hit the ball with that one. He was the next Deshaun Watson. And he has gone to 3 schools and has done nothing at all 3. So, Florida State, what happened? I'm your host, Trill. I keep it 2 thing, true, real. We watch games, not box scores. Peace.